Let's get it, Nina. Here we go. Welcome.
I'm trying to be a parent, but I gotta run an errand. I promise when I'm back, I'ma feed my kid a carrot. Damn, this stuff is tough, man, I thought it was inherent. I'm trying to be a parent, I'm trying to be a parent. Sometimes you gotta drink, cause that shit can be kinda stressful. Sometimes you hit the blunt, cause that green will help you rest, yo. You know your ass be slacking when you gotta look up things on YouTube. Like, bro, how you wipe your baby boo-boo? Now welcome to the podcast. Trying to parent and make moms laugh. Who you know got it like the King's family. Amanda and Sean, it's the name G. Yeah. Now welcome to the podcast. Trying to parent and make pops laugh. Who you know got it like the King's family. Amanda and Sean, it's the name G.
Yeah. Episode 34.
Coming in hot, son.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Alrighty. It's episode 34. It is Sunday,
July
9th.
But you will hear this on Monday, July 10th.
And at that point in time, Amanda will be 14 weeks pregnant.
14 semanas.
How many people do you think it's weird to be like, we are pregnant?
Well, that's a very common thing. I mean,
It's a very common thing to say, but it feels weird for me to say it because I do nothing. I already did my job.
You did do your job.
I did my job, and that's the only thing I'm going to do for the rest of this next 18 years.
Wise.
But welcome, guys. Episode 34. Like we said, Trying to Parent podcast. If you didn't know, now you know.
I don't know if you're in the right place.
Should have dropped the white niggas drop. Alrighty, so I guess we can just get right into it because we're going to have a guest today. So let's fly through some of this stuff. And don't blow your ears out.
Let's get social.
Social.
With social media.
Let's get social.
Hey. Please, wherever you're listening, go on and follow us. Give us a 5-star. Spotify, Apple Music, wherever that you are listening. You can follow us on Instagram at trying2parent.
Mm-hmm.
Also, that is Facebook. You can follow us on the YouTube and watch us at trying2parent.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And if you're a caller like this guy that we're going to be having on here soon,
this is the number.
Hey, I just met you.
it's loud. Let's get it.
Crazy, but here's my number.
Listen close.
360-450-5008.
So call me maybe.
Yep, he's calling. And I want to touch on last week, we played that drop. That girl's not dead. Her name
is Carly Rae Jepsen, which is why I got it confused with Lana Del Rey.
Very close. I'm going to give Amanda a lot of credit on that because I knew it was not Lana Del Rey.
I was like,
but
Lay.
You had there were some close things there. It's like how you do on the 90s trivia. You're like, it's close. No cigar.
I was on the right path.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
Thank you.
Because I wouldn't have been able. I was like, it's a dumb name. So if your name is Carly, sorry. I thought it was dumber than that. That's not a dumb name. So yeah, we are heading out to Vegas tomorrow.
Yep.
Going to my grandmother's celebration of life.
Yep.
She was 93 when she passed away.
Right before her 94th birthday.
Right before her 94th birthday. And she did a lot of shit in her life. Had 10 kids, was a lawyer, traveled all over the world.
She was an amazing woman, that's for sure.
Yeah, she was awesome. So,
and luckily she liked me.
Everybody gathering together. Yes, she did like Amanda. Everybody likes Amanda.
Thanks.
Call in if you don't like Amanda. Love to hear from you.
I want to hear. Actually, I don't want to hear.
Love to hear your reasons. Drop them in the comments. But she was a great, great woman, and
oh, that's gonna be good.
And all of your
that's
aunts.
gonna be good.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be a good to get together and see the family.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, all of your aunts and uncles are literally, like, the coolest, nicest people ever. So your grandma did a really good job.
Yeah, we have a really cool family.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say all of them. You haven't met some of them.
I have not met some of them. But
There's reasons for that.
But the ones that I have met, and I know I'm going to meet a couple more this weekend.
With
like
10
Cliff.
kids, they can't all be great. But, 7, 8 out of 10,
The majority.
that's
which is
fantastic.
pretty good odds.
And I want to be honest, none of them have ever been mean or anything to me. So, not saying that they're bad people.
Yeah.
But some are just better than others. So, with that being said, yes, you will get to meet some new members of the family. We get to see Joel and Chris again and, a bunch of people. So, very excited for that. And again, it's a celebration of life.
And Sean's family really likes to party.
Yes. We'll be staying at the MGM Grand. They have nice pools and stuff. So, we'll get to...
Is it the Grand or Park MGM?
Shit.
I always
Shit
get
if
them
I
mixed
know.
up. I don't know.
I don't know.
remember.
We should probably know where to tell the taxi to go.
Yeah.
But anyways, that'll be a great time. So looking forward to that because it is a celebration. And just like a celebration, they're not starting it until like 7 at night.
Which is 9 p.m. our time.
Yeah, so it's about time we go to bed. So we'll be able to see if we can
We were up late last night, though.
hold it out.
Well,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
true.
I managed.
That's true. Because we did watch the UFC fights. There were some great UFC fights last night. I'm sorry, Bobby Knuckles. I did not want you to go out like that. I didn't think it was going to go out that way. But
Yep, that was
yeah, not expected that.
not your best fight, sir.
But again, if you're not UFC fans, what are you doing? There were some great fights on. Incredible card. One of the best we've seen in a while.
Yep.
You helped a lovely old man this last week.
I did.
Yep.
He reminds me of my grandpa.
He is
Of
almost 20 years younger than your grandpa.
no, Grandpa Warren,
Oh, okay.
not Grandpa Phillips.
I was like, you didn't really remind me of Grandpa Warren. I mean, Phillips. But, yeah, help him out with some nice coverage and seemed like a cool guy.
Yeah, he's the busiest 76-year-old I think I know.
But he let her know, I'm a busy guy. And we still got it done. So
It's funny.
that was nice. It's been getting hot here.
Yep.
Do I have a-
Feeling hot.
Yeah, that definitely needs to be a drop because...
It's like 93 out, but mind you, it's like 70% humidity.
What?
So
Yeah.
it's toasty, my guys.
It's really hot. Like in Arizona, when you're in like the direct sun, like when the sun's not behind a cloud or something, or you're not in the shade, when you're in the direct sun, it feels like it's a million fucking degrees. So, yeah. And then we've still had issues with our warm water, which isn't really a huge deal because you're hot as shit anyways. So taking a cool shower helps, lower the internal body temperature. So that's been nice, but
It fixed it a little bit. It's
Has he?
just warm enough now to where I don't get the goosebumps, so I can shave my legs.
yeah. But the owner of our apartment did come over and broke our sink faucet. So we'll be getting a new sink faucet. Pretty cool.
Sweet,
We
yeah.
definitely needed one of those because
The hot water side on ours, it never worked, and they came over and they fixed it, and it worked. And then as soon as they walked out the door, it stopped working.
Stopped working.
And so he was like, when he came over, mind you, he doesn't speak any English, so we mainly use like WhatsApp and Google Translate to communicate. And he was like, "What's happening?" I'm like, "El mismo día," or like the same day. What did I say? Like basically like the same day that you were here last. It hasn't worked since then. And he was just like looking at me, like laughing, like, oh goodness.
yeah. So looking forward to at some point moving into a house for many reasons.
Many reasons.
One of those being the noises are insane around here. You just got all sorts of noises.
There's just too many people
Yeah.
that aren't like us.
Yeah. Where can I find a bunch of people that are just like me? What country has that? Don't know.
It's not the States and it's not Mexico.
We'll keep looking. So, yeah, besides that, we're probably going to start getting some stuff together for the baby. We'll be picking up a baby, what is it called?
Our crib.
Crib. Yep.
Wow,
That's
that-
what it's called.
The
Stumbled on that one there.
The main one. We had it shipped. We bought this before we miscarried. It's the Cradle Wise crib. It's a bit fancy and
Yeah, thank God we bought it
expensive.
before we miscarried because it's taken some payments.
I'm on a payment plan with it. But anyways, it's like the splurge. Hopefully it's really nice. We'll be able to use it until the baby goes into a toddler bed because it's a bassinet to crib convertible.
Yeah,
So we'll be
comes
able to
highly
use it for a
recommended.
while. Yeah, it's it's kind of like the new state of the art thing. Anyways, they can't ship to Mexico, so we shipped it to his aunt's house. So we're gonna fly back with it. The box
And hopefully it only costs $1 million to get back here.
only costs $200.
Oh, wow.
But
That's nice.
the box is 114 pounds and the limit is 100 pounds. So we're going to have to figure out how to take 14 pounds out and distribute it
Probably
amongst.
a good amount of styrofoam. And not that styrofoam weighs anything, but actually I want to make sure that stuff stays in there because we don't know how they treat the boxes
Yeah.
when they ship stuff. Anyways, yeah, we'll have to start getting, once we get that, we can start getting other stuff set up, but we're going to need to figure out, are we going to stay in this apartment?
Yeah.
Because no reason to get stuff set up if we're leaving.
Yeah. And I told our broker dude that helped us find this apartment, I was like, is there any 4 bedrooms anywhere?
Yeah, I mean, we for sure at least need 3 bedrooms. 4 bedrooms would be ideal. You would think with how many kids Mexican people have, there would be more places with 4 bedrooms.
They all cram into 1, 2 bedrooms.
Bunk beds, son. They just stack them on top of each other. 3,
Yeah.
4 levels of bunk beds.
That's funny.
So, though we're going into week 14, and I'm reading my little book here, We're Pregnant, all about dads and what to expect when she's expecting. Week 14 apparently is a big deal.
Oh,
Your partner has made it over the first trimester hump, pun intended. Good dad joke there. Hopefully with your love and support. Not so much.
you've been great.
Chances are that in the last week or two, you made the official announcement, we sure did, this guy knows what he's talking about, to your friends and family, and the reactions are pouring in. It is a wonderful feeling, reconnecting with old friends and having them share their joy with you.
Accurate.
But be wary. Pandora's box may have just been opened.
Uh-oh.
Making an announcement of this magnitude, especially if you're a first-time parent, always opens up the floodgates for opinions and criticism that are not necessarily going to be welcome. That's why we're doing this show.
All the criticism.
Yeah, let the suggestions and things flow in. I don't think anything has been bad. We're always asking people for their opinions anyways. So
Yeah.
let's see here.
What does this guy know?
Yeah, what's this guy's name? Adrian. That's actually a good name. Adrian! This week likely starts the first of the second trimester appointments. The doctor will continue to monitor urine, blood, pressure, weight, and fetal growth. Genetic testing may be an option if she's considered high risk. Insurance will generally assume the cost. Things are different out here.
How to Mexico?
Gender determination can always be included in the same test. Will it be a cinnamon spice and everything nice? Snip, snails, and puppy dog tails? Do you want to find out, or do you prefer a surprise? That's a weird
Puppy dog tails?
snip, snails, and puppy dog tails. I don't know if I've ever heard that.
Awful.
Yeah. Is that talking about chopping the peony? Who knows?
Oh, just chopping off tails. No.
Anyways, hope your baby's not born with a tail. Baby stats. Your baby is almost the size of a baseball.
Go on.
I don't really understand the sizing thing that they do here with the apps and the comparisons and stuff. I don't really know how that correlates to, like, they're like, it's the size of a baseball, and now it's the size of a Kit Kat, and now it's the size of a Barbie doll. You're like, well, that was essentially one after another, and you guys are being really inconsistent with the actual size. Like, what are we talking? We're talking weight here?
Well, yeah, some of them do. like one of them was like, your baby's the weight of a slice of bread. And like, so between
Weight makes more sense. The
Yeah.
size of, they're like, it's the size of a Kit Kat. Now it's the size of a baseball. If you were to take a Kit Kat and you were standing next to a baseball, I bet you it's probably a little taller than a baseball. So did my baby shrink? What's going
I
on?
had Kit Kats last night.
Yep, and I was thinking about that when you ate it. Let's see. Baby has a neck now, which is cool. He can be choked out, but and his kidneys are functioning, or hers. Mom's uterus is continuing to expand. Morning sickness is beginning to disappear, but acid reflux may still worsen. Have you dealt with any acid reflux yet?
When I drink certain liquids, if I like lay back on the couch, I kind of feel it sitting a little bit. It's not bad.
Acid reflux is
I
a
did.
bitch.
Yeah, I had lime water,
Oh, yeah. That'll
and
definitely
then
get you.
we went to the gym, and I was
Super
like
acidic.
bending over, and it was like, and I was like,
Blech.
"Bleh." No.
She has more discomfort in the abdominal region as the baby grows.
Facts.
Very true. You can see that pouch expanding. And she may experience flatulence.
Today, I definitely have.
Mom! Mom! Mom!
That was me growing up. With my mom farting.
Your mom does fart a lot.
My mom farts a lot. And guess who else farts? Has been farting more? Amanda.
Yep.
Yeah, they're so similar.
Well, I'm constipated, so I
As
gotta
we talked about
relieve
last week.
myself somehow.
So hopefully mom is beginning to feel a little bit better, is getting over that touch of morning sickness, but she may continue to experience acid reflux. As a side note, you may want to hit the Army supply store and grab a gas mask because her flatulence will be on the rise. I clearly recall, was that this morning or last night? You had farted when we were in the kitchen. You were like,
This was last
I'm
night.
going to step away. I just farted. I'm like, oh, thanks. Leave me here with that. Luckily, I didn't get any of it. But
That's good.
personally, he says, it's been tough for me not to comment on the occasional fart explosion from the other room. Over the years, and as much as I don't care to think it's funny and par for the course, it's a sensitive issue for most moms and something they wish would never happen. Maybe keep the snicker to yourself, or if she shares your sense of humor, by all means, come up with some sort of rating system so you can yell, "Hun, that was a 7.5 from the other room." So, what
Yeah, I
type
don't know
of
about
person
rating
is-
them.
Yeah, what type of person is Amanda? Say she maybe falls in between that.
Yeah. I wouldn't find the rating funny, but I do find the fact that I'm.
You wouldn't find the rating funny, but you find the farts funny?
They're silent, but
Deadly.
they come with a kick.
Yep. Hey, I don't have any excuses. I just be farting.
I try and be aware of where I am, though. And I try to be like, oh,
That's-
I'm going to step over here.
It's very nice of you. Very nice of you to do that.
You're welcome.
Well, let's get into our highs and lows really quickly, and then we'll move on.
Okay.
Oh, I wanna sing and I can sing high like highs and lows, Nina. Would you like to start? Would you like me to start?
I went first last week.
Okay. Highs. I've been chatting and helping some really nice people lately, and, that's been really great. I think we're going to have a nice week this upcoming week. Also, we've started on our group interviews, and we kind of figured out the internet situation. So now that we're doing that on Zoom, it's been a lot of fun. And It's cool to actually interact with people and see their faces and, hiring on some new agents. That's awesome.
Yeah.
As far as the low goes, just kind of been agitated with the amount of sounds and noises that we've had to be dealing with, and it's just nothing crazy. It hasn't been that bad, so
Apartment life.
yeah, no real lows, but would like to get to the beach more often. So yeah.
We will. Well, we didn't go because of your chest.
yeah,
Your chesticles.
tattoos, taking up a lot of the beach time.
We will get a lot of pool time tomorrow and Tuesday, though.
Yes, we sure will. Sure will. So yeah, not really any lows. Very excited to see my family. And Sophia and Alexi, because they've been growing up so fast. That's
That
what
is-
happens to little kids.
His niece and nephew.
Yes. So very excited for that. What about you?
My highs that you mentioned earlier, I was able to help that gentleman. Kind of besides like last year when I really first got my license, this is like my first full on front to back myself sale. So it was really cool. It took a little bit of process, but it really built a lot of confidence along the way. And hopefully I can continue that and keep the momentum going and be productive.
Yeah, if you do it once, you can do it again.
Yep, definitely. And our friend Mason got his own place, so
Oh
we
yeah,
were
we got our
able.
friend out of our place.
Yeah, so we got our place back to ourselves, and that's always nice.
Yeah. Boom.
It's nice to have visitors, but a week is just too long of someone who doesn't have the same lifestyle / schedule as you. And so as much as I love him and he's my best friend, it's very nice for him to be out and on his own.
And it's like a little different because we're in Mexico, so expectations and everything that people may have when they come down here, like, or whatever, like, it's just, if somebody stayed with you for a week in the U.S., it'd be different because they could just fucking go, whatever. They're in the U.S., they know what's up. Mexico, it's just a little bit different.
Yeah. But he's been going out to eat and going out and meeting friends and stuff like that, partying. So Mason doing Mason things. So that's nice. I would say my low is that I have had very, very low blood pressure this week.
Yes, very low.
I have probably felt the worst this week than I have since the constant mild nausea of like week 6 and 7. My blood pressure normally is around 140/85. Like,
Okay.
I'm very borderline high. I've been on medication previously, been taken off. And then earlier this week, it was
Low.
96/66 or something like that, which is crazy for me, but it's actually very common in the first and second trimesters. Just as your body is producing more blood and pumping it to the baby, that's where a lot of the dizziness comes from. And I have just been very dizzy lately. Granted, I'm feeling a little bit better yesterday and today, but overall, I'm just tired and I'm dizzy.
Yeah, I'm always concerned when she like goes anywhere without me or takes Nina out or something. I'm like, oh my God, she's going to fall over, hit her head. People aren't going to know where we live. Well, they're not going to know where I live to come tell me that she's dead. She's not dead, but she fell over. And Nina likes to pull.
Nina does
So
like
she
to
like
pull.
down the stairs and stuff. So it's one of those things that is worrisome.
And another low is I'm still very constipated, and it's causing so much discomfort and just like putting me in a bad mood because I'm so uncomfortable. I've tried prune juice. I'm now taking psyllium husk.
Ceiling
I
husk.
don't know the word. I don't know how to say it.
Insane asylum husk.
Asylum husk.
She said that earlier. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Asylum husk. Psyllium husk.
Celium husk.
So fiber. I've bought instant decaf coffee. I've been trying to drink. Like, I'm just not having a good time right now.
She's pizzaing when she's supposed to french fry. Not a good time.
But I'm trying to remain in good spirit.
Yeah. So it'll happen.
It's all part of the game.
It'll all come out and you'll be 15 pounds lighter.
I certainly hope so. Oh, another side note. I've only gained like half a pound so far.
Which is crazy because she's constipated, so you would think there's a lot of extra pounds sitting in there.
I haven't weighed myself yesterday or today, though, so that could be up. I could be up a pound.
Yeah, but it's not real weight because it's a bunch of shit inside you.
A bunch of shit. Yeah. So overall, granted, I'm like where I'm supposed to be weight-wise, so it's supposed to start packing on here in these next couple weeks.
Yeah, about to get interesting, folks.
Half a pound to 1 pound a week average, or I could just not gain weight for a couple weeks and then gain 5 1 week.
That belly about to start shooting up like bamboo.
It's starting to poke out.
Instantly. All right, well, it's time for you to shine.
From the entire Channel 4 News team, I'm Veronica Corningstone.
And I'm Ron Burgundy. Go fuck yourself, San Diego.
And go fuck yourself, Florida. We don't like you.
Even though you're so close. So in today's news, we're going to talk more about stress in pregnancy. I know 2 weeks ago, I kind of touched on the topic and just let you guys aware that there were effects to be had if you incur stress during your pregnancy.
I'm yawning so much.
Well, because we were up till 1 o'clock.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That makes sense.
Why? So I'm just going to go a little bit more in depth about like what is happening and why it's happening. Anyways. Okay. So it is when you incur stress. So we're going to be focusing on more like traumatic stress, chronic stress, things like, in this one article, they called it toxic stress. By the way, the main article on this is from CNN. I also had medical publishing articles, things like that. There's
Very
a couple
reliable sources.
Yeah, a couple different sources in here. Anyways, so as you guys know, when you're stressed out, your body produces the hormone cortisol. So that's the fight or flight hormone that you get. But in today's society, we often live with chronic stress. And cortisol actually has the ability to cross the placenta. So babies born from mothers with toxic levels of stress, and by toxic, I'm meaning like unable to go about your day-to-day, but a little less to be diagnosed with like major depressive disorder. There's actually in the baby's brain, there's weaker connections that lead to other areas in the brain. So if you think of like, your brain, you have different ports, and then you have like the connections from one port to another port of your brain. I just remember when my brother had Tourette's, that's how my mom described it. But it actually weakens those connections, and that can lead to a multitude of things later on that we're going to talk about. So, it also affects men and women a little bit differently too in the womb. So this can cause impaired growth of the hippocampus and the amygdala. And these are for memories, learning, and emotion regulations. Stress can also shorten the length of something called telomeres, which is a DNA compound structure at the tips of the chromosomes that protect our cells from aging when they multiply. So when those are shorter, you have a higher risk of heart disease, cancer, and other health implications later on in life. Exposure to elevated cortisol levels in early gestation, so in the early parts of pregnancy, it's linked to a slower rate of development over the first year after the baby's born. They have lower mental development scores at 12 months. They tend to not be able to regulate their emotions as well. They have a higher predisposition to ADHD and other kind of attention deficit disorders, things like that. However, when they're talking about like what trimesters stress makes the biggest impact, it's trimesters 1 and 2 that seem to impact the baby the most. The studies that they did as far as like postnatal, so like once the baby is born, say like if you're breastfeeding and things like that and you're really stressed out, they said that doesn't necessarily have anything to do with baby's development. As far as like long-term effects and things like that. But like say like weeks 12 to 24 is kind of like, they can't really pinpoint like when stress does the most damage, but that's kind of like a general idea of like,
I mean, that makes sense because the baby is still in very early, like not formation stages, but everything's still coming together compared to like you said, while breastfeeding, the baby's already a baby at that point. So it's not like you're transferring. You may transfer a little, stress, whatever, through your milk, but it's not like the baby's absorbing into its body where everything's being generated.
Yeah, which is interesting because the nutrients that the mom takes in do transfer through the breast milk, but those are for a lot of positive things, luckily, not for a lot of negative things. So there's kind of like some mixed correlation here on the effects of stress in the third trimester. Some say it can actually speed up progression, like mental progression for the baby, but there's not enough studies on the third trimester.
They're saying stress you out a little bit and your baby
might
will be
know
smarter
more
faster?
words than other babies. However, I didn't have enough time to dig into that aspect of it, but some of the articles where I was saying they're like, stress, definitely not good first and second trimester. Third,
Who's willing to test that? Ugh.
I know, right? Yeah. And also, what I thought was super interesting, pregnancy-specific stress, like just being freaked out, like and stressed out about your pregnancy, like that's the cause of your stress, actually does more damage to the baby than just outside normal stress. As if, like, say if you were to leave me and I was stressed out, like that wouldn't necessarily, it would still do damage, but it wouldn't do as much damage as if I was sitting here just like afraid to go outside because I'm pregnant, like stuff like that. So it's called pregnancy specific stress. Like,
Interesting.
yeah, so that actually does the most damage. But so in speaking of like how the placenta is supposed to block cortisol from entering the baby, like that's kind of like how it protects it. There was a study done in Finland that, so there is a compound in licorice.
Black licorice, red licorice?
I don't know, but it has an artificial sweetener type thing called glycerin.
We're talking like what flavors licorice, or
it just said licorice.
it's probably Twizzlers. Twizzlers fucking suck.
Glycerin is there? I don't know. Anyways,
This sounds like you're fucking on lean over there, buddy.
exactly.
But
But basically, if you eat more licorice, it deteriorates the part of the placenta that protects the baby from cortisol. So the more licorice you eat, you're actually allowing more stress to enter your baby. So, but it's this very specific compound that's found in licorice, but they also extract that sweetener from licorice to use amongst other things. And it's this glycyrrhizin, that word I can't say.
Probably black licorice. Black licorice
Probably.
sucks.
But so that like breaks down and harms your baby. Anyway, so the more cortisol that enters your baby, the higher odds, poor memory, lower intelligence scores, attention disorders, things like that. So, that's my spiel on stress.
Very interesting. So, with that all being said, just try and think the idea is to, be as calm as possible throughout pregnancy. Try not to just put everything off on your spouse. Just be like, hey, this is stressing me out. Do this. You want a baby to be problematic?
Smart or dumb.
Yeah, this was on you, buddy. Do this shit.
Oh, and gosh, I should have wrote down a little bit more notes, but like they said, based on if it's a boy or a girl that you're pregnant with, the girls tend to have more emotional problems, whereas the boys tend to have more like ADD kind of mental slowdowns. I don't know what word I'm trying to say, but yeah. So it affects the genders differently. The stress does.
Interesting. Well, I think it's time to bring our guest on board.
Woo!
So, as Amanda pulls up the phone and gets ready to call him, probably going to start out with getting a little information about him. I know he's got a podcast of his own, so we'll talk about that for a quick second.
Yeah.
And then we will get into asking him parenting questions, because we all know every parent is different. Every parent's style is different. And he is, go ahead, give him a call. He is the parent of 2 daughters. Last time we spoke to a mother with 2 sons.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, look at that. You can take it away. See if he picks up.
Hello.
Dre Day. It's A-Day and Sean.
What up?
What's up,
What's
man?
going on?
Not a whole lot. How y'all doing?
Good.
Oh, good. Second time doing this. See how it goes.
We're,
but I feel
we're
like,
live right now.
Yeah.
We're filming. Not live, but we're filming.
Oh man, this is crazy. I'm finally here.
Yeah, you've made it. Watch your numbers shoot through the roof.
Oh man, before we say anything, I want to say congratulations, man. I know I may have sent that on social media or something like that, but it's nice to be able to say in person. Congratulations, guys.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, man. It's been a long road, but all in good time. So we're definitely ready now. But
Excited to be at this point.
yeah, greatly appreciate it.
Oh, definitely. So what are we getting into today?
Ooh, that is a good question. I know Amanda's got a couple questions for you, but real quick, do you want to?
Yeah, so let's see. Dre, I met you in 2009, I think.
Yes.
2009, yeah.
Yeah.
I was 19.
Yeah, I was like 19. Yeah, we were 19. I've known you for a long time, man. I feel old whenever I think about how long I've known you because we didn't go to high school together.
I know, right? That's so funny. Right after, or a little after, but yeah. And you had already had Bree at that point, right?
Yeah. I tell people all the time. I've had kids. I've had 8 kids since I've been an adult. I've never made an adult decision without having to consider my child. I had Bree when I was 16.
Damn.
Oh, that's earlier than I thought.
You had a kid when you were a child. Then 16 is.
Yeah, basically.
Whew.
Oh man. And then how old were you when Blaze was born?
30.
The big difference there in
Yeah.
experiences, everything. We're gonna talk about. Yeah, we're gonna get.
It's enormous, man. I've got a 16-year-old and a 2-year-old, and the stages that I am in my life, being their dad. I don't know if that makes sense the way I put it, but the difference between being 16 with a baby and being 30 with a baby, as I'm sure you can imagine, it's much different.
I cannot even imagine being 16-year-olds. I don't know what the fuck I was doing when I was 16, but taking care of anybody but myself was not it. Like, that's wild to me. Just, you got to grow up so quick. You just like, should I go out tonight? Oh, wait. First of all, I'm 16. I can't go out. But I won't be doing that for a while. God, that's crazy.
Well, in truth, it's a lot of. I would say for anyone who's had a child young, I feel like they can all tell you the same thing. Your parents make all the difference.
Oh yeah.
I've seen people have kids young, and their parents were like, well, "That's your fucking kids. Like you figure it out."
I told you not to do that.
Yeah, I told you what you thought was gonna happen. And I've seen that, and then I've also seen my situation where my mom was like, you're a fucking idiot, but I got you.
Yeah, you're my idiot.
Yeah, you're my idiot. Exactly. So I was kind of blessed in that. I didn't realize until I had Blaze how much of Bree's parenting my mom was actually doing. So I didn't realize how much of the heavy lift that she was even doing until I had to really do it all on my own again.
Yeah, you're like, I don't remember doing all this shit. That's right. Mom did it. Wow. That's crazy.
Literally.
Oh man, that's interesting. Cause so for these listeners, Dre has a podcast called Fuck This Shit.
Yeah. FPS podcast.
Yep.
I'm assuming can be found everywhere, correct? Just like our podcast can.
It can be found everywhere, just like your podcast can. I was putting it as Fuck This Shit podcast to actually search, but surprise, the algorithm don't like that.
Yeah.
So
FTS.
So it's FPS.
Yeah.
What still stands for Fuck This Shit?
There we go.
And on the podcast, you talk about what?
Everything. So it's interesting because the way I got started with the podcast, it kind of morphed into what it is. So 2020, George Floyd happens, all these protests and everything are going on or whatever. And Lasia, that's Blaze's mom, she's pregnant.
Okay.
And it's COVID, and it's like, I want to be out there. Like, I want to be protesting. I want to be out here like everybody else. I live in a major city. I could have easily been out there, and I wanted to be. But it's also like, I got to take into consideration that I don't want to like be out here and get sick and bring that back to my family. And then she gets that. We don't know what that would potentially do to a baby. Like, this is early on in COVID. So we really don't have any clue what could happen. Like, I don't want to give her COVID and my baby come out with 4 eyes, and then I'll be like, I love you, but where do I get these glasses and all these issues? So I'm just like kind of stewing in my mind, like, and I'm frustrated and whatever. And then also, I don't want to go out there because I'm seeing the way that they treat the protesters. I'm like, I want to get killed out there.
Yeah. For sure.
And then kind of a similar thing, you know, my family is just left with money, which is cool, but, you know, it's a lot cooler if you can raise your kids. So I'm just kind of thinking, like, what the fuck am I going to do? What can I do? So I'm like, fuck it. I like to hear myself talk.
Yep.
I'll get a podcast. So I'll start a podcast. Respect. So I say, fuck it, I'll start a podcast. And I'm thinking of a name, and I'm like, you know, well, how do I feel? I'm like, fuck this shit. That's how I feel. So that's what we naming the podcast.
There you go.
Nice. And for the first season or so, it was almost directly about, if it wasn't a specific instance of police brutality, it was kind of just about all of the ways that like systemic injustice and racism plagues America and all these things. And that shit is emotionally taxing to research regularly.
Oh, yeah, you are a better person than me because I do not. It's so difficult because you know it's all around you and you're like, man, what the fuck am I going to do about it? And then to talk about that stuff, you obviously want to have your facts straight and everything, and you got to be looking into it. But God damn, the injustice that happens within our society is just like, it's so depressing. And like you said, so taxing just to know that, man, this shit's going on everywhere. I thought we were kind of past this. Now it's coming back.
Yeah, and then it just like got a lot worse.
Yeah.
And it's like you constantly just having to like dig into these, like you dig into these stories and you find out the details. And one thing I'll tell anybody, man, the details of these stories be worse than the story. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody knows like the Breonna Taylor story. Like, the more details you go into, every detail is worse than the things you knew about it before. And it's like, wait, they was at the wrong house. It's like, wait, he never shot first. It's like, wait, these police officers were part of a secret gang within the police department that they already knew about. It's like, wait, that gang did. But anyway, so you can do that with every story. You have to do that all the time. So I was like, fuck this. The podcast has got to at least shift a little bit. So like that, there's a segment of the podcast where I address like racist things that happen, but then we also do like, you know, fun shit, you know, bring up stories about this wild shit people do, rate the overreactions that motherfuckers do, clown on Florida and Texas for all of the crazy MAGA shit they do. And, you know, just it's become a lot more lighthearted.
Nice. Yeah. Well, I'm sure that's a little bit more enjoyable for you to do on your end instead of, like you said, kind of stewing in all of the crazy shit that happens on the regular. But
yeah, exactly.
Nice, man. Well, I know Amanda's got some questions lined up for you because, again, last week we had our good friend Kat on, and coming from that side of being a mom of 2 boys, and now we got you on the flip side being a dad of 2 girls. And I think being a dad of girls has definitely got to be harder than being a mom of boys. Yeah. I mean, boys seem pretty straightforward. I mean, you kind of get it. They have a, you know, you get it. But girls, being a guy, you're just like, fuck, what do I do? What am I supposed to do? And now that your daughter's getting to that point where she's probably, you said she's 16?
16. Yeah, my daughter's 16.
Ooh, that
we
is
talking
a
learner's
scary
permit.
age, yeah.
Yeah. It's even scarier when you had your first kid at 16.
Yeah. God, yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
You're like, if I can get through that, I can get through this.
Yeah, but now do you look at her and be like, "Don't you have a kid at 16?" Like,
yeah, you like, nah, bro. I know what I was doing at your age, bro. Like, I need you to relax. You know, one of the things about my situation too is that, so I have full custody of my 16-year-old. My 16-year-old, me and her mom are not together. We haven't been together even as adults. We had the kids together at 16, so surprise, we weren't in love like we thought. So we've never really been together. And she had custody of her since she was about 13, but I've had her since then.
oh,
Yeah. So, and then me and my youngest, me and her mom, we're together. So both of my daughters live with me. So
nice.
yeah, I'm here. Dad and 2 girls. Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah.
yeah. You guys have been together for a minute, and I remember when you started dating, I was like, "Oh, this one must be the real one."
Yeah, yeah, right. We dated for maybe like 4 years, and then split up for a couple of months, and then back together now.
Oh,
And
nice.
so it's been how people say off again and on again for almost 5 years, 6 years, something like that.
Oh wow.
It's kind of how my sister and her husband did it. They were together in like college and then separated for a little bit and then got back together, got married, had a family. Like,
Yeah.
that's how it goes.
Yeah, it's like that sometimes, but yeah. So,
Yeah.
what questions do you have for the all-knowing father?
Well, so I remember listening to an episode of your podcast, and you were just talking about like just how different it is disciplining Blaze versus how it was with Bree, and just kind of like your mental capacity of like how you handle like frustrations being a young adult yourself versus being now like more an adult. So I just was wondering, like, because obviously we don't have any of those experiences, whether 16 or 30 yet. So like, I just kind of wanted to hear about like, what are the kind of the major differences that you have noticed in your parenting style from when you were, 16 to 18 versus having a newer baby now? Cause she's like, what, 3 now?
She's 2. She's a Christmas baby, so she's about 2.5 right now. But well, first of all, I'll say that my parenting now is much more intentional. And obviously because I'm an adult, I can't stress enough. And it probably informs the way that I parent my 16-year-old. In truth, I can't stress enough how much 16-year-olds are not adults.
Yeah.
like at 16, you feel so grown. And I was just like some slight back history on me. I was kind of one of the bad kids. Like I wasn't like a criminal bad kid, but I realized there wasn't really much my mom could do to stop me from doing shit. She'd like ground me, but like, you gotta not go to work. You know, like I'll just leave when you leave. You can't like put me in a cage. Like I'm physically big enough to do what I want to do.
I really see why you and Amanda got along.
I know. I was like, is that why we were best friends when we were 19?
Basically. So those are kind of the vibes when I'm that age. So I feel grown as fuck at 16 years old. I've been watching my little brother since I was, young. I've been driving since I was 13. I've had a car since I was 15. I've had a job since I was 14. I feel grown as fuck at 16 years old. You really can't tell me shit.
Mm-hmm.
And so when it comes to like the parenting part of it, what I'm really doing for the first 3 years, I would say, is being a dad when I feel like being a dad. Like when I want to be dad, I'm like, yeah, I'm here and I'm taking her places and I'll show up and like, kind of like, I don't want to be in that role when I'm there, but I still want to go out with my friends I still want to go do little stuff. So if her mom has her or my mom has her or whatever, I'm honestly just letting it be that way. Once Bree turned 3, something happened where she came to visit me, and it was just a lot of things that I kind of noticed was going on that made me realize I need to be like way more active, because I'm trying to just let her mom raise her, and I'm not the one who's doing it, and I don't like the result at this point.
Wow.
So 3 is kind of when I got like much more hands on with Bree. With that being said, as far as discipline is concerned and things like that, I was kind of all over the place with Bree. I would be super soft on her sometimes because I didn't have custody of her, so I didn't want her experience with me to just be disciplined. Like every time I'm with my dad, it's what I can't do, or I'm always in trouble. So I'm kind of letting her do whatever the fuck she wants. Then I'm kind of overcorrecting at times because I'm still young. Even Bree's 5. I'm 20, 21.
Yeah.
So I'm still young as fuck.
Yeah.
So I'm still, and not like, Bree never got, Bree was not an abused child, but like Bree got whooping. I don't even believe in whooping kids as an adult.
Yeah.
So like Blaze doesn't get whooped. And it's like, those are kind of the things that have changed in the way that I handle who they were as far as at the same age. Kind of like young Bree versus young Blaze. Because now with Blaze, everything is intentional. Everything is me taking the role of basically the adult. It's kind of like, I always say whenever stuff happens with the police and somebody else, the police always want to like say that the other person should have been doing or what they shouldn't have been doing, but it's like only one of y'all motherfuckers is at work.
Yeah.
You feel like when the police engage with somebody, they on the clock. So it's like you can't be like, well, I got out of character because they was out of character. It's like, bro, you at work. I have to be that as a parent. Blaze is wild. She's emotional. She's dramatic.
Oh man.
And she is. I mean, she is. She just is. She takes things like she feels things like strongly. And when as y'all have kids, and the more parents you talk to, like the parents, like, and even like with your like nieces and nephews, you probably know what I mean by this. Like some kids, they feel stuff. Like, and it hurts. Like they are so hurt by it, and it's just like that's Blake.
Oh man.
So I have to be thoughtful with the way that I approach her with things, and I have to be kind of gentle with the way that I approach her with things. And when she makes mistakes and when she does things, I have to really I have to do all the like get down on her level and explain to her. Even at 2, I talk to her like an adult because she's going to understand what she does understand, and she's not going to understand what she doesn't. But I'm going to give you the whole message every time.
Yeah, I really like. That's how I plan on doing it with our kids as well. Because again, you don't talk to somebody, you communicate with her, like at some point she's going to get what you're saying. You're like, hey, we're going to continue to have these conversations as you get older. Like, I want this to feel normal for you. So when something's going on, when you're feeling really emotional, when you're mad, when you fuck up, like whatever it is, we're going to have these talks, and I'm going to talk to you this way. And soon it's going to be you're just going to understand like, oh, okay, like, this is something that we do when I fuck up or I get upset, and Dad comes and he just talks
exactly.
to me, and now I get it. Like, but to talk to him in that little baby talk or dumb it down or whatever, I don't really think that's the way to go. Yeah, I don't think that's the way to go.
Well, when you even think about it, their shows don't talk to them like that. Like, she sits in there and she watches Sesame Street and all those kids shows. Like, they don't baby talk. Like, they talk. They talk. Like, they have, like, it's a full flowing dialogue between 2 people. And they catch more of it as they get older because they understand more. But it is them having to, it's almost like immersing yourself in a new language.
Exactly.
You catch what you catch.
That's so true.
And then you have to like build, and then you build onto it. So that's what she does. And one thing I do with Blaze is I talk to her, or I relate to her in things that I know that she does. So like one thing, she watches Sesame Street all the time.
Good shit.
There's this thing that they say on Sesame Street: calm down and think. So whenever she gets frustrated and she gets wound up, I will literally get down and I'll look at her and I'll say, Blaze, calm down and think.
I like that.
And she'll stop and she does it because it's like something that she's familiar with. But that's one thing I'll say is that, like, as a parent, knowing what your kids are into, it's not like a policing thing for me. It's like because I want to be able to relate to you in a way that, like, really, really resonates with you.
Yeah, and it's an effective way of communication in a way that you know she understands the message that you're trying to get across because it's a familiar message she hears when it's not coming from you as well.
Just gotta make sure they're watching the right shit. I know there's some dumbass shit out there that kids be watching.
Yeah, man, it is some dumb shit, and it's
worse
some,
than the shit
and it's
we
some
watch.
really good shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And it's honestly, just objectively, it's also garbage. At least our garbage was entertaining. There's just shit.
Yeah, their shit doesn't even make sense. I be seeing shit that people watch. I'm like, who the fuck made this?
Yeah.
Some old ass.
It's like this weird ass fucking pig off of here, but Peppa Pig is
fucking
weird.
Peppa
Anyway.
Pig, exactly. That's what I was thinking of.
I knew he was thinking about Peppa Pig.
That's so weird. I've heard bad shit about Peppa. Fucking bitch.
That's funny. How is Bree reacting to? I mean, does Bree's mom have any other children, or is Blaze really her first other sibling?
Oh no! So Bree's experience with Blaze has been way different than her experience with her other siblings. Bree's mom has 4 kids total, including Bree. Bree's her oldest, and she has 3 other kids.
Oh.
And they're all relatively close to Bree's age. Like they got Bree's 16. I think the next one is maybe 12 or 13. But then they're all within 3 years of each other. Like they're all back to back to back.
Oh man.
So yeah. So Bree has. So Bree has always had siblings, and when she's with me, it's really always been like her only child place. Like I get to be here. So Bree was kind of not fucking with the idea of having a sibling over here too.
She's like, no,
Like,
not over here.
Yeah, at first she wasn't really having it.
About to ruin a good thing, Dad. We had something going here.
Listen, that's how she is. Period, bro. When other people come around, Bree is like, I thought it was just me and you, bro.
Yeah, I thought it was me and you, Dad. What the fuck, man?
So, yeah, Bree, but they're close. It's crazy how close they are now. I'm really aware of not having Bree have Blaze a lot because I feel like I have my little brother a lot. There's a 10-year gap between me and my closest sibling.
Oh, wow. Holy shit.
So I had Devin a lot.
Okay.
And I didn't like it. I resented it and whatever. Like, me and my mom were super close. Like, I don't ever want to make it seem like I had Monique from Precious as my mom or no shit like that. But, you know, like, as parents, you do have blind spots and, you know, whatever. So I just didn't want that to be her experience. But even without it being that she's kind of tasked with having him or having her all the time, she loves her. Like, she loves having her. It's crazy to see how close they are.
Oh, that's awesome.
Especially as she gets older and she becomes like a little bit more enjoyable for a young teenager to be around. You know, as a baby, they're just like, oh, okay. Like, you're just this baby.
Sure.
Once you get to those 2s and 3s, you're like, oh, cool. You're like a little person now. Like, we can actually hang out. I can kind of talk to you. I can see you respond to me. Like, it gets a little bit more exciting.
I feel like the siblings and the dads feel that way about the babies, and the moms are the opposite.
Yeah, they're like, keep it
Like, I
small
feel like-
and young as long as possible.
Yeah, I feel like when you have the baby, and you'll have to tell me if I'm right about this. I feel like, Sean, when y'all have the baby, you're going to be like almost, it's almost like someone gave you something and told you it was priceless.
Yeah.
It's like, you almost can't even appreciate it because you just try not to break it. You're like, okay. Like, and it's like, you're like, because they're so small and you're like, you can feel how like vulnerable they are. I think as a dad, like, you're just like, okay, keep them safe. as they get a little bit bigger and they get a little bit more durable,
You're like, let's fuck shit
then
up.
you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, then you're like, okay.
Let me throw you up in the
Now
air.
you, now,
and
now
shit.
you come, now you come fuck around with the fuck around. Like, yeah, but the moms is the opposite. It's like from the moment that they see them get up, the first time that something doesn't fit, tears. Like, oh, this is too small now.
You're growing so fast. Oh yeah, can't wait.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah, it is.
You got any other questions, babe? Or you want to run through some of this? I know we had a listener question. Oh, and I want to let you know because last week we talked about, I think it was last week, what network you fucked with more as a kid. Were you watching more a Cartoon Network or were you watching more Nickelodeon? Dre, what? I don't know if you watched cartoons when you was growing. Every fucking kid watched cartoons. What you fuck with
Yeah,
more? Were
I
you more
continue to
Cartoon
watch
Network
cartoons.
or were you more Nickelodeon growing up?
More Cartoon Network or more Nickelodeon. I think if I had to make a call, I'd say Nickelodeon, but it is close.
It is close. There's good
Cartoon
shows.
Network is Nickelodeon has more volume, but Cartoon Network does have, Dexter's Laboratory,
That's what
like
They had a bunch of shows that
Powerpuff
slapped.
Girls.
Yeah, they had a bunch of shows that slapped.
I feel
But-
like earlier was Cartoon Network and then later was Nickelodeon.
True.
But now
Well, Nickelodeon had they had the variety though, because they had, when we were kids, they had the shows where the kid game shows where they were getting slimed and like jumping through that like big little teeth thing. So like, yeah, Nickelodeon.
Yeah. So just so you know, babe, the listeners, we got 59% Nickelodeon, 41% Cartoon Network.
Okay.
So
I'm defeated.
yeah, it's
I'm just an old lady.
not gonna say it yet. That's the problem because you're so
I
old.
still want to give you your props, man. I still want to give you your props. Cartoon Network is no slouch. I do want to say one more thing as far
go
as
ahead.
like the actually like raising the kids thing,
Yes.
because we talk like so much about Blaze and the younger one, and dealing with my 16-year-old it's another thing in and of itself as well, especially me being her dad or her being a girl.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, like, how's being a girl dad in general and dealing with the teenage like aspect?
I am blessed to have a very well behaved child. I will say that with very little oversight. She really does. She handles her shit. Me and her, the way I parent Bree, and I'm learning that kids are their own. So I don't know if I'll be able to do this with Blaze, but with Bree, I pretty much told her off rip, you're going to have to be responsible for yourself because that's the way the world is. Like, I don't wake Bree up for school. I never wake Bree up for school. Bree has to wake herself up for school or get on the bus and all that on her own every morning because don't nobody wake me up for work. It's like, it's just like, what I'll say this as a parent, I feel like in a way we've got to kind of understand that we have an opportunity to set our children's habits.
Absolutely.
Because we as adults know how powerful habits are. Like the shit we want to do, like is the desire to do something is not as strong factor in actually doing it as you would like to think. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's lots of stuff you're like, man, I'm going to start doing this all the time. And it's something you could really want to do, but until you establish the habit, man, it's hard as fuck.
100%. I'm reading, or I just finished up the book Atomic Habits. And, bro, that's 1,000%. Like, I would love to do a whole lot of things that would make my life a whole lot better. And you do them every now and then, but if it's not something that you build into a routine consistently and stack it on top of other habits to make it easier for you, like that shit's not gonna get done. And that's really cool that you're not forcing her to grow up faster. What you're doing here is teaching her how to be responsible. And you meet those kids. I was one of those kids when I was younger, where it was like, man, why is everybody my age fucking lame? Like they're not as advanced as I am. And so I would hang around older people and stuff, and people would think that I'm older because I carry myself that way. And that's because my parents gave me a lot of responsibility as a younger child to get shit done that I needed to get done.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think that helps you become an adult as a child or a young adult.
Yeah, but you're also teaching her like problem solving skills and like the ability to be independent and to figure out, like, just kind of use the part of her brain that's good for like problem solving. Like, okay, so if dad's not going to do this for me, I need to figure out a way. Like my mom used to make me call and make my own doctor's appointments, and I used to hate it. But it's like,
and now she calls and makes my doctor appointment.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like somebody's got to do that. I mean, and another part of it too is I want her to have her own autonomy in a way where it's like, I don't really care how you get from A to B. I set my expectations for things. Burritos, I expect her to be an A-B student. I never said I need 4 A's and 2 B's. I need a 3.7 GPA. I said I need you to be an A-B student. I don't tell her to take AP classes. She does.
Wow.
Like she takes AP classes. Like I've actually had to tell her like to scale back. Like she told me what she was going to do, and I was like, that's too much. Like with your extracurriculars and all that, you're going to burn yourself out. Like, yeah, take one of those back. But it's the only rules I have for Bree, don't have that school calling me for nothing. Make the grades you're supposed to make. Be where you're supposed to be. Answer the phone if I call you. Those are all the rules Bree has.
And that's a lot of what my parents did as well. They put so much trust into my sister and I when we were growing up. And it was just like, hey, I'm going to allow you, if you do these things, if you get good grades, if you play a sport, if you do, you know, all of these other things, go do whatever you want to do. Like, we trust you. If you're grown up enough to handle your shit in these aspects of your life, we're going to give you the freedom to do the other things. And I think I've talked about it on the podcast, you know, my dad's philosophy was always, I'm going to give you enough rope to hang yourself with. Like, do with it as you please. Like, you know, push the boundaries, but understand every action has an equal or greater reaction to it. So just be careful what you do, because it's easy to lose.
That's exactly what it is, man. It's giving them the space to figure it out on their own. Because I mean, that's if I walk you through every step of it, I could tell you the best way to do it all. But first of all, you're not gonna listen to half the shit I say anyway, and it's just gonna piss me off. And then you also will have no ability to form that on your own. You'll never be able to do anything. And my biggest thing I tell her all the time is that what I want to be to you is a resource.
Yeah.
Like, what I want you to know is that, like, if you need something, whether it be information, whether it be assistance, whatever it is, I'm the person who you can reach out to. And the most I'm going to do is talk to shit to you. But I'm going to help you get it done. If you come to me and you're like, hey, I have this problem, like, what do you think? I'm never going to be like, oh, I'll figure that shit out. I got you. What's up? But I'm not calling your teachers, asking them, well, what's Bree's grade? I only check her grade by semester. At the end of the semester, I check it. At the end of the year, I check it. That's it.
Nice.
It's been times where Bree has had B's in classes, but she's got it back up to that B before that final grade came, because she knows, like, that's the rule.
Yeah.
And if you want to stress yourself out over the fact that you got to get that D to a B, that's on you. As long as it becomes a B, we good.
There you go.
But yeah, it's obviously it's a ton more I could go into with Bree. Like, but I will say that the way I parented her has led to really open communication between us. She came to me a little while ago, said she felt like she needed to start going to a therapist. We got her a therapist. Like, but it wasn't even. I love the way she came to me. She was like, I don't really have anything major going on. She was like, I know I have anxiety. Sometimes I have problems figuring out how to deal with it on my own, but I just don't want it to become a big thing.
Wow.
It's crazy how, man, kids nowadays, bro, they different, bro. Their understanding of how to care for their mental health is like nothing like what we grew up with.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm like, you not binge drinking? You should be binge drinking with your friends. What do you mean?
But also, I mean, half the shit that we had to deal with, or they're dealing with now growing up, we didn't have to deal with. Like, social media is a motherfucker, and seeing people, like, all of that stuff factoring in was not something we had to deal with. But the fact that you were able to raise Bree to the point where she's like, hey, I want to come to you and talk to you about this, that's huge because most kids will start doing like damage to themselves or, drinking or doing these other things instead of going and talking to their parent because they feel bad about everything that's going on in their life. So, hats off to you for just building that relationship and that trust and that open lines of communication with her that she feels comfortable enough to come talk to you and be like, hey, man, I'm struggling a little bit with my mental health. Like, could you help me out? Can we figure, that's.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's something I'm proud of. I really am. That's something that knowing that she can come to me with real issues in her life, that was major for me. Cause it's like, man, one thing I told her all the time, and I tell her this all the time, the most dangerous situations I was ever in as a kid were the ones where no one knew where I was at.
Yes.
It was the one where I couldn't tell people. It was like, I gotta lie about what I'm doing. And if I tell the truth now, then the lie comes apart. So I gotta like let my friends keep taking me deeper into some shit I don't want to be in.
Yeah. Fuck.
Yep. That's
You
a
know what I'm saying?
lot
Or
of my
that-
We
teenage
can all
years
think about
right
those
there.
situations. Goddamn.
God.
Well, let's we're at a minute or an hour and 11 minutes, so we're gonna hit you with our last section, the I Love the 90s. We'll have to have you back on another time because there's obviously so much
Yeah,
to
so
talk
much to
about.
talk about.
But do you have the questions? I think I have them written down as well. But do you want to ask them? Do you want me to ask them?
I can ask the first two.
All right. Well, let me go ahead and hit him with the
Get this
drop.
drop.
What's up? You have selected
I love the 90s. I love the 90s. I love the 90s.
All right.
Dre, we're going to see your 90s trivia.
I'm ready. It's just me. You don't get to. I want to suck next to Amanda. Like, I listen to the show.
It's just you. See, the problem is
All right.
she came up with some of the questions, so she would know the answers, and it would be unfair. So
It's all right. I'm ready.
we got 4 questions here for you.
Picking on you here a little
All right.
bit. Okay. You're aware of Genco jeans. They were popular in the 90s.
Yes.
What does Genco stand for?
What does Genco stand for?
JNCO.
JNCO. I'm not even gonna pretend I know that shit. I would have just made something up. I don't know. Fuck. Jeans. Gotta be jeans, right? Okay.
No.
Is no? The J isn't
Not
even
even
jeans.
G's. Not even G's. No.
I didn't know it either.
All right. What is it?
Judge none, choose one.
I would have never gotten
You could have put a gun to my head and showed me a picture of some Janko jeans, and it would have taken me the rest of time to figure out judge none, choose one. Not buy those jeans.
I would have been stalling. Bro, if you could have put that as one of the options on a multiple choice, and I wouldn't have picked it.
You're like, for sure it's not that. That's kind of gay, and that's definitely not what Janko jeans.
Stupidest shit I ever heard. Like, of course it's not that.
Damn. Not like FUBU. Like, come on
Yeah,
now.
for us, by us.
Jeez.
Yeah, bro, I know FUBU.
Yeah.
All right. 'Cause I'm like Amanda. I know the black shit.
Yeah, don't worry. All right. Well, here you go. You want to lay it?
You can ask this one.
Okay. All right. So you know the black shit. What year was Biggie shot, and how old was he?
94. No. Pop got shot first, so 95 and 24.
That is half correct. He was shot in 97. He was 24.
Shit, 97 and 24. Hey, I'll take the 24.
Pac was shot in 96 and he was 25.
So you were right by the year difference, just the wrong years.
Yeah.
I was
That's good. That's
wrong
impressive.
years. I was wrong. Okay, I'll take it. I'll take 50% half credit.
Yeah. That's
Yep.
what Amanda always be doing.
I
She be
know,
getting,
I'm
a
like,
little bit of a question right. All right, I'll give it to you. I feel bad.
Help me. Okay, so this movie came out in 1997 and it was the first ever to gross $1 billion. What was it?
And you with these white people shit right here too.
Titanic.
Yes!
Boom. All right, you're 1.5 out of 3. You are 50%. right now.
Let's go. Let's go.
The final question. Ooh.
I thought you picked a different one.
Yeah, I did pick a
Oh.
different one.
Okay.
This is as white as it gets here. The cast
All right.
of the white people show Friends was centered around how many main characters?
Okay. The one who looks like a bird. Looks like kind of like a swan. The one who they gave that weak ass spinoff to, and that shit didn't last. The one who looks unimpressive. The other girl, not Rachel girl, and then Rachel, and then there was another girl who was dark haired too. And I'm gonna guess there had to be one more man who I'm not remembering. I'm gonna say 6.
Woo! That is correct.
Let's go.
And
That
you even got
is
one of the names.
correct. Man, I didn't even know there was a spin-off show for somebody.
I didn't know that either.
Joey.
Oh, he had a spin-off?
Joey had a spin-off
The show was, and it was called Joey.
Ah, you're right.
Wow.
You know what? I did. Yep, I do remember
I
that.
don't even know that. So.
Never watched it. Never watched an episode of Friends either.
Let's
but
fucking go.
that's
King
impressive,
of the
man.
90s.
That is impressive. That is a score of 2.5 out of 4. That is better than Amanda.
Yep. Way to go.
That's better than Amanda usually does. I listen to the show. I know.
Yes.
I know.
Yeah, God.
I'm not that.
I know you guys. I know you guys are already longer than you normally go, but there's one last thing that I want to say to you guys before we get out of here.
Bring it
Of
on.
course, man.
I told y'all I've been listening. Maybe I don't know what episode I jumped in at, but since my first episode I listened to, I haven't missed one. I think I probably listened to about 10, 11 episodes or so.
Oh, thank you.
First of all, I've already told you this off camera or off phone or whatever, but the podcast is dope as fuck. The preparation that's done, the everything, it is obvious that you give a fuck about it, and that means more to the people who listen to your podcast than 80% of anything else. Like, you guys do a great job at this shit. Y'all are awesome.
That's all, Sean.
Thanks,
But
man.
what we talk
Appreciate
about
that.
here is parenting. Yeah, what y'all talk about here is parenting, though, all the time. And I know as soon-to-be parent, it's probably like a lot of anxiety that you have about, just what it's going to be like and how you're going to do. But I will say this. First of all, giving a fuck is 95% of it. And it is more than obvious that you two give more of a fuck than most people's parents ever could. But honestly, the way that you both, the way you think about kids, the way you see them as people and not just like something for you to manipulate and mold, the way that you understand that they're going to have their own emotions, their own feelings, just the way that the thoughtfulness that you are approaching parenting with, you two are going to rock this out. Like, you have each other, you have all of the intention, all of the love, you have all of the things, all of the pieces that it takes to really do this effectively. You have all of it between the two of you. So your child, y'all's baby, y'all's children are so lucky to have y'all. Like, y'all are going to kill it.
That's so sweet.
Yeah, thank you,
Thanks,
man. That means a lot. And again, that's all thanks to great parenting that we received growing up. And you see, how important that stuff is. You know how important your mom is to you and what she did for you and how you're able to do that for your daughters. And it's such an important thing for kids to have that strong support system. And at the end of the day, that's all we want to be able to provide is like, that feeling of being loved and supported, even if they're fucking killers.
Yeah.
No.
Even if they're killed.
Yeah.
You got to tell on them, but you love them from on the other side of the glass.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, man, thank you so much. It was awesome having you come on.
You're a
and
great
chat
dad
with
too,
us.
Dre.
Yeah. Love hearing the stories
Thank you.
about your daughters. And again, we'll definitely have to do this again because I know there's
so much more to talk
endless
about.
topics to talk about. But yeah, man, we
It's
appreciate
literally anytime.
I
we
love it.
appreciate the time. Guys, make sure if you're just looking for an enjoyable, casual listen to take some of your weekend or week blues away. When does your podcast drop? How often?
Podcast drops at least once a week, twice a week sometimes. SPS Podcast. You can find it on all streaming platforms, anywhere you can find a podcast. And I got shitload of episodes, hundreds of them motherfuckers. So go check it out.
Hell yeah. So if you like listening to Dre on here and you like the little bit of info that he gave us about parenting, I can guarantee you there's a shit more of it on his podcast. So go check him out. Appreciate it, man. Hope you have a great rest of your Sunday. Thanks for taking the time to chat with us, and we'll set this up again.
Definitely, man. Thanks, guys. I loved it.
All right. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks for being on.
Have a good one, bro.
All right.
Bye.
Peace. All right, y'all. Well, another one.
Another one.
Probably gonna have to pay for that. It's been real. Dre, if you obviously listen to this podcast and you see at the end here, Nina was like, keep getting real close to me. And she was trying to fuck with the chords. Yeah, look down. And so if you end up watching the video, you'll see me trying to shoot her and stuff while you're saying nice things to us. And I was just like, don't fucking unplug my plug, please, and ruin this show. But anyways, y'all, it's been real. It's been fun. We are heading to Vegas bright and early tomorrow. So we'll see you next Sunday.
All right. Love you, baby.
Love you too. It's been the Trying to Parent podcast.
We up out of here.
Dead ass.